Hello, it's Tom again with Heart to Heart Chats. Well, it's beginning of September today, and we're having a good but smoky day in California today with a lot of wildfires. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you more about spiritual messages. They come in all different forms, from visions to synchronicities to whispers in your ear, to whistling sounds in your ear, to things like being typed into your forehead so you can read them. That's what I get. I'm going to tell you about a very interesting vision that happened to me in 2007. My wife Caroline and I wanted to go to Peru, and we joined a tour to go. About a month before, I had a vision, a very, very strong vision in the middle of the night. And it woke me up, and it was like a little movie. And what it consisted of was I appeared to be like in a large Catholic church, an old style Catholic church. And it had a big lobby as you come into the door, and then it had an arched entry into the main cathedral or church area where the pews might be. Well, I find myself standing in the middle of the entry watching people come in, and next to me is what appears to be a Catholic bishop or cardinal even, and he is dressed in these elaborate clothes with a big headdress. I couldn't figure it out. I'm looking all around in this vision and I'm saying, what is going on? And all of a sudden, in come through this entry. Now the entry had a big, tall door. In come three figures that are floating on air, but standing up, floating on air, and they were dressed in white, like a white sheet, essentially, with just a gown, whatever you might want to call it. And they had a hood, a white hood, and the hood was over their heads. And they appeared to be, I would estimate, about 15 feet tall. They were huge. And they're floating, and they're coming towards me, and I'm looking at them, And then the first one passes me. The second one bent over a lot. He was so tall, and looked me straight in the face like this. And he looked me in the eye, and I looked at him. And then he got back up, and they moved on. That was the vision. It ended there. Now my wife Caroline is an avid reader. She worked in libraries most of her life, and she just loves reading. Well, in preparation for trips we go on, like this one to Peru in November of 2007, she was reading books about Peru. And so the next morning I talked to her. I was so excited. I told her about this vision, and she said, incredible. She said, wow, you are talking about the APU. I said, what? Who are the APU? What are the APU? She said, I was just reading this book about the myths of the Inca in Peru. And they describe these beings very tall, like 12 to 15, 16 foot tall, in white with hoods. I said, that describes what I saw exactly. Who are these APU? She said, well, the legend says that they came to Earth 65 million years ago and planted all the life here, everything. And they come by periodically to see how we're doing. She says, in a way, they describe us as their children. But they are very, very powerful. And they float on the air because they say They do not want to desecrate the earth. And so that described what I saw exactly. They were floating on the air. Wow. Interesting to see how a vision translates into something more, and maybe even someone close to you, nearby you, or some other way. You find out more about that vision. And it wasn't just, the next morning I found out. Well, when we got to Peru, everything's named APU. It's unbelievable. The mountains are named APU. Stores and shops are named APU. So it's a big thing in Peru. The APU are big. And they believe the mountains are especially sacred, the APU in the mountains. Well, if you believe this vision and believe these myths, which I don't believe are myths, then you have to believe that there are and there were alien beings that came to Earth, perhaps even to create us, perhaps to visit us. But the APU story is amazing. And to have a vision, a little movie of it before it went, was miraculous. So I wanted to tell you about, spirituality and the experiences you might have. This is a very, very strong one for me. I'll never forget it. And it told of reality in a way when we got to Peru. It was an insight into what Peru is about. And when you see the structures, the civilizations of the ancient Inca, and maybe even before the Inca, you see these huge structures that were put together like 100-ton boulders that fit precisely together with no mortar, and they've been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And despite earthquakes and everything, they haven't moved an inch. What kind of technology emerged then? There are places where you go to a sacred place made of rock, and you see these rocks, and they're fitted like big stairways. Someone would had to be very tall to manage these stairs, or like little benches cut out in the rock that were not wide normally for human beings, but super wide, that may be fitting of a much larger being. So when you see Peru and you visit it, you get a sense of there's something more going on there, and perhaps worldwide, that was in our ancient history. I'm convinced. So think about what I said. Think about spirituality and the messages you might get. Don't discard them easily. Think about them, because they may be insights, they may be education for you, they may be a part of your spiritual evolution. So I hope you enjoyed this story. If you wish to contact me, tom@oneangelstouch.com, www.oneangelstouch.com for my website, and One Angels Touch Facebook. So goodbye for now. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care.